Hello everybody, St George's Day, 23rd of April, a little bit chilly wind. Thought we'd have a little look round the plot and see how things are going. Here's my cold frame. I've been bringing quite a lot of plants on in the greenhouse and then transferring them to the cold frame. I've got tomatoes, runner beans, I've got a couple of rhubarb plants there and lots of flowers, a few peppers, all sorts of stuff. A great deal of what I'm growing there, I'm raising money to send some scouts to Tanzania, so there's a lot more in there than I would normally have for my plot. But at the same time, of course, I'm growing stuff in my own plot. So let's have a look in the greenhouse then. Okay, I've got in here the courgettes. Well, I've brought on most of the things that I sprouted at home from seed on the sunny windowsill, and now I've brought them now and then in the greenhouse to bring them on. I've also got a lot of stuff for from the sale. What I'm really pleased with is down here I sowed some carrots in a bucket before Christmas, and a couple of potatoes. Now look at this. Yeah. There you come. I'm well pleased with that. A nice early spring carrot, full up with all them lovely things that's supposed to do you good. So I'm going to give that a wash off and give it a chomp. So I'm well pleased with that. Yeah, and the potato the same. As soon as I get a decent fish, I'm going to tip them out, and we can have some nice new potatoes with a nice bit of fish. And that's when I catch one. It won't be a bass, of course, because some pen pushers have told us we're not allowed to catch bass. If so, the individual angler really makes a difference to bass stocks. But anyway, this isn't a soapbox. Let's get back onto our allotment, shall we? So there we go. As you can see, I've got quite a lot of stuff I'm bringing on, all ready to go out as soon as this weather warms up. And there's me couple of marrow plants for me raised bed, marrow bed as well. So I'm pleased with that. So then let's go outside and have a look around the main plot. So we're outside. I'm doing a little experiment. We've got I've sown some cut and come again lettuce in a tray, so that I've always got lettuce growing, because when you're at home and you want some fresh lettuce and you haven't got it, so I thought I'll grow some in a tray and I can take the tray home and we can just pick it from there when it's a little bit bigger, of course. So let's move on to our first bed. That has been prepared. I can't remember what's going in there now, but I have made a little plan somewhere. And in this other bed I sowed peas in trays and planted them out, and I put peas that I've already sprouted and put in, and the peas that were in the trays are growing nicely, and the ones that I put directly in the ground, the slugs have eaten about 60% of them. So one up for the peas to be brought on indoors. I really have got a problem with slugs. I don't want to use chemicals, but I'm going to have to do something. Now moving on to me black currants and red currants. They're looking really good. They're all in bud. Look, they've got all them nice new leaves. Just hope that the weather encourages them to give us nice fruit. Red currants the same. But these have been here for a long time. This could be their last year. Right, strawberries. They're looking good. I cut them all off last year at the end of August. I cut all the leaves off, composted them. I gave it the ground a dressing of horse manure and compost, all mixed up, lots of household compost. And then last month I gave them a dressing of blood, fish and bone, and that's it, and it's looking good. I've got nice new leaves on them. I've got a few flowers, but they are really ones that escaped last year when I cut them off. The upturned guttering, they are protecting the slug pubs and woodlice traps. Broad beans, the ones I put plastic around them to protect them from the north wind. They've been brought through the winter, and look at them, they're looking superb. So I'm well pleased with them. I'll be disappointed if I don't get some good beans off them. So the back of my greenhouse, I'm going to grow some nasturtiums again to protect from the north wind, which worked a treat last year, so I'm going to do the same again this year. Then I've got my garlics, and they're looking really good. They were sown well last October. Olive white garlics mostly, and some jumbo garlics, looking superb. I just hope we don't get the rust like I got last year, but it was towards the end, and they survived, so everything was fine. Then the deepest raised bed, I've got some overwintered onions, looking good. I've got some broad beans which I sowed just a month ago, and they're coming on goodly. They were sown indoors and then brought out, and I've got some French beans just at this end, so looking good. Then the next bed along, coming on to the next bed, that's me white onions. They've been sown now for probably about 3 weeks, and they're just showing little sprigs of green, so they're looking good as well. Then the marrow bed, that's a slightly raised bed. I've dug in some horse manure. I did that ages ago, so that's ready for the marrows to go out, which are in the greenhouse, of course, as you saw a minute ago. Then that is my shallots. They're looking superb. I planted them or sowed them out on the shortest day, and that's the back side of the broad beans. Backside, talking rude. Sorry, that is the broad beans I showed you earlier. Okay, so move on. The grapevine, that bit of polythene is, I'm trying a graft of that particular grapevine. It's very old. It is a good root stock, and I'm trying a graft of a Chardonnay. I'm not sure it's going to work. I only just had 2 buds, and I've put them both on. I'm just sort of fingers crossed it works. We'll see. Who knows? So let's go back to the other side. Okay, here we are on the other side. There's my rose tree doing right, and grapevines. As you can see, the buds are just beginning to open. Got some nice little leaves. So all's looking good. Then on to my asparagus. Oh, they have been tremendous this year. I pick a bunch every couple of days. Just can't get enough asparagus, could you? Those bottles, they keep the cat off, and they really do too. Seems to work anyway. Don't scare me. Oh, and I've got a moggy there as well, look. The potatoes in the bath, unfortunately they failed because I went away for 2 months and they didn't get watered, and only one survived, and that's because the rain blew in through the end. But never mind, can't win them all, can you? And then I've got some strawberries there in that tub. They're doing okay, much the same as the other strawberries though. I've got flowers on them from last year, but they're doing alright. They're doing alright. So let's go around and have a look at our potatoes. Remember the ones that I had covered up? I put them in really early. They started growing. I think they were reacting to the warmth of the grain from last summer, and now they've stopped growing. In fact, the potatoes that I sowed afterwards have caught up with them and may even be overtaking them. So I'll have a job of seeing, because I've been putting the old spinach that's been attacked by creatures. I've been putting that in the trench along with bits of nettle and comfrey as well. But let's have a look. There we go. Look, so you can see that they are just as big as the ones that's been in the ground under cover. But those will need covering with some straw. We've got some frost forecast for this week, and really and truly, you don't get your last frost until something like the 20th of May. So they will want protecting. So looking back on the potatoes, you can see I shall probably rotivate between the actual rows so that I can earth them up. So looking at our mobile raised beds, just in front of the compost heap there, I've sown some wildflowers just to give it a go. We've got to encourage our wildflowers, haven't we? And then I've got the 3 beds there. This closest one, I've got some runner beans in, and a few French beans. They were sown directly in, and it looks like they're growing. Then I've got parsnips in the next bed, and the far bed I've got leeks and beetroot. So yeah, and the leeks were brought on in the cold frame, and I've put them in, I've dibbered them and dropped them in, and then the beetroot I've sowed through the middle, and it looks, and it's yeah, they're all coming up, so it's looking good. Next to them I've got some peas. Now these were chitted and sown directly in the ground, and once again the slugs have knocked on them. Oh, they've probably taken about 40% of them. But anyway, there we go. Wire over them again to stop the creature from digging them up. And then the next to those will be the brassicas that will overwinter, and I'm going to do a little experiment with those whereby I'm going to put in a mixture of leeks, sprouts and cauliflowers, so that when I harvest it gives space to the remaining crops. So let's see what happens, eh? Okay, so moving on. Out of some old table frames I've made these little greenhouses because the next fortnight's going to be cold, and I've got my 3 courgettes in there, and then hopefully they will carry on growing if the ground's warm. The ground has still got to be a decent temperature, and hopefully they will bring the temperature up. And over the back there I've got a couple of French pumpkins, you know, in the same way, and I've got another one just here with some black on the ground. Hopefully that's going to warm it up, and it should be good. Moving on, I've got this really nice deep bed that I've built up with a mixture of soil and sand, and I'm growing some parsnips. There's a couple in that bucket. I sowed about 6 or 8, and I'm thinned them down now to just 3 or 4, and that will end up with just a couple, and then the rest of the bed will have some parsnips in and some carrots, and the open up and grow some really nice long carrots for the show. Who knows? Now last year's brassica bit, we've just got one cauliflower left, there's a little tiny head in there just waiting to fillet, and our sprouts are finished. Then our grapevine, I'll put that bit of plastic along the back there to reflect a bit of heat onto the grapevines, and hopefully I've got the pruning right this time. That one is the Merlot. I'm hedging my bets on that. I've gone to both systems. That's the Cordon and the Goya, whatever, however it's supposed to be said. So hopefully that's going to be good. And the pond, of course, well, the pond's doing all right, except for the newts have eaten all the tadpoles. Scallywags. So now let's go back over the other side. So here's my blueberries. They did well last year, so I've been putting tea bags and rhubarb leaves around them in the hope of turning it a bit acid. Whether it will work or not, I'm not sure. And I do need to make a cage to keep the birds off, because the birds blinking love them. So and then moving on, there's my compost heap. It's doing well. I'm going to start digging some of that out now. I've got here a fig tree that's got a little fig on it, would you believe? Well, I shall have to take that off, of course. Never grown a fig tree before. And there I've got a Cape gooseberry, which I've overwintered in a pot, so I'm going to give that a whirl. Then I've got some shoots that people have given me for raspberries. I'm giving them a go. I've got a gooseberry there that somebody gave me, and some more raspberries. I'll put that pointer in there to stop things crawling up the stems. I get a lot of trouble from these things that eat all the leaves on the gooseberry bush. And that is a Big Ben. That is a black currant, and you're supposed to get currants the size of your fingernail, so I'm really looking forward to that. That is a red currant from the red currants that I've had for years on the other bit, and so that I can culture a new bush here. Then there's my pear tree, which is fully in blossom and looking really good, nice and healthy. then next to that is my peach tree, which is looking okay, but I think I've got that blinking leaf curl thing or whatever it is, where the leaves look a little bit red. There you go. So I'm going to pick them all off, and I'm told that you can spray it with garlic, and as you saw earlier I have got some garlic that I've been boiling up. And give it a go. And then the apple tree, nicely, I've pruned it nicely so that the apples will all be
so that it keeps the wind off.
You won't be bumping into any other branches and so on. So there we go. And finally, our potatoes in the bins. They're doing okay. The frost and the cold don't seem to have affected them. They're all growing. So looks good. So there's the plot. All we need now is some really nice weather. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you get something out of it. I hope my young friends are doing their plots, and I'll see you when I make the next one. Bye. Good growing.